Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Jordan Elsass. You might recognize me from the show Superman and Lois. You, my friends, are watching Completed It with Andy Burrows. It's your one-stop shop for everything pop culture related. Enjoy the show. I know I sure do.
Welcome back to another episode of Completed It. This is our first ever movie review. We are here to review Mufasa, the Lion King. I haven't come alone though. I've come with a fellow movie buff, good friend of mine, someone that I usually talk NFL with on the daily basis. But we're here to do movies reviews. Mr. Scotty Hartley, how are you, Scotty?
All good, thanks, Andy. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reviewing this.
Yeah, our first one, mate. So Mufasa, the Lion King, obviously a prequel to the well-known movies that we all know and love, The Lion King. First of all, are you a fan of prequels, mate?
Not always, no. Apart from obviously Star Wars, some of the prequels were very, very good. Some of them not so good. You know, Phantom Menace you talked about before. You weren't really keen on that one, but yeah, I'm not always a fan of prequels. But this one, it was okay. We'll get
Okay.
into that.
Yeah, obviously this one was directed by Barry Jenkins, starring Aaron Pierre as Mufasa, Calvin Harrison as Taka, and it has had a really good cast. I, on watching this movie, I don't know what you thought. It took me about half an hour to figure out what was going on and where it was going. And then the grand essential thing that I come across was it's just a movie to introduce us how they all met, basically, and how everyone become to the characters that we kind of know and love, like Rafiki and things like that. I don't know. Well, maybe it was just me, but I just got the sense that I was sitting half an hour into the cinema when I saw it on the Odeon IMAX. Really recommend going to see it on the big screen if you can. Like the soundtrack is really good, as you would expect from a Lion King movie. If you can go and see it on the big screen, go and see it. But yeah, I was kind of half an hour into this movie thinking, where the is this going? What did you think, mate?
Exactly the same. It wasn't just you. Yeah, I was half an hour, 45 minutes in. I could find myself getting a bit restless, kind of looking around, thinking, I don't know what where we're trying to get to here or what this is all about. But I thought the storytelling on the film was very good. So Rafiki, whoever played Rafiki, did a very good job. Marvelous the way the
John
story.
Cannon, I think, played Rafiki.
So the way it was told was very, very good. As you said, CGI in the film was excellent at times. Fantastic. I thought the music was very good, although I'm not a fan of musicals, which I'm sure you'll get into. So yeah,
Yeah, that was the part for me that I mean, we get the animated stuff worked for me when they were doing, and there's so many iconic songs now in The Lion King, which has obviously been transformed into a musical on stage in the West End and taken around the country here in the UK and worldwide. It's everywhere. So for those listening abroad, that I didn't mind. This movie, the CGI of the animals singing some of the songs that they just had this massive fight and then this lion starts bursting out into song. I was thinking, geez, this isn't exactly Mary Poppins, but yeah, I don't know, mate. I wasn't that for me. It didn't spoil the movie, but you're just kind of getting into the flow of the movie, and then the lion starts singing.
yeah. I think the audience that you've got is it's tailored to that audience, and I'm not saying that Disney has lost its magic from me. But obviously, as a 40-year-old man watching it on my own, it's probably not the greatest setting to watch this film. If you're taking young children, highly recommend going to the cinema to watch this, for a couple of hours. But it was at times a bit of a hard slog to follow where the line was going. And then when you got into it, you were like, after that first 45 minutes when it was scripted and you kind of understood the story of getting to Malele and Kiara not being brave and how they all met, then suddenly it was like, well, actually, I now know where this is going. I can script the rest of the film.
Yeah,
So I
you
kind of
kind of
already
knew that
knew.
Kiara was
Yeah.
turning into Scar.
Yeah.
Was it
Well,
Kiara? Yeah,
Tucker, yep, Tucker
yeah.
was turning to Sky. Yeah.
Tucker was turning into Scar.
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you're watching it for the movie review. But yeah, Taka turned into what we now know as Scar. But the big flaw in this movie Scotty, and I think we are definitely not the only two that have pointed this out. I've watched a couple of reviews in this movie just to see, like, it wasn't just me thinking this. Mufasa and Scar are not real brothers.
Yeah, highly disappointing
Before
to
you
move
make this
away
movie,
from
you
it.
might
Yeah.
want to watch the original.
Exactly, yeah. Highly disappointing to move away from the original script there. You know, the Outlaws and going into all that sort of stuff and how Tucker joined the Outlaws. It was like, okay, this is a bit that part I thought was a little bit far-fetched. But other than that, yeah, it was an enjoyable watch. It was an enjoyable watch, and there were some very good parts in it. But parts where I was a little bit like, you know, as we said off air, the nod to the adults was pretty good at times from Timon and Pumbaa. You
Yeah, they
know,
were more wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the like, are we not in this movie? And the little throwbacks to them when they were doing their little chat with Rafiki. I mean, that
yeah.
was pretty much the only reason you could get Timon and Pumbaa in a Lion King movie was kind of them nodding at that the watching audience when they started to burst into the famous Lion King song, and they were like, "No, no, no, we're not doing that yet." And then they're chatting to Rafiki and things like. For me, I don't know what you think. I think Disney could have turned this into a mini TV series for The Lion King.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I think the way that we share content and the way that content is consumed these days, as you know, everything goes on Disney Plus, and I agree with you that this could have probably been a 3, 4 part series, and then just given it off it goes from there. To sit in and bite-sized chunks as well. 30 minutes each one. You could
Hmm.
script it out and play it out that way. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a decent enough watch. But you're absolutely spot on with what you're saying. It could have easily been a series.
Yeah, I think the soundtrack was good. I mean, I think it don't. I think you probably can't quote me this. I think I'm sure I'm right. It was the guy that done the music for Moana was the same guy that
Okay.
done the music for Mufasa. I'm sure people will tweet us and let us know. But yeah, I really enjoyed the soundtrack. Visually, it was really good. It was what you kind of expect from a Lion King movie. The ending was the ending. I think that was kind of the for me the ending was the main part of it was you when you see now known as Scar sloping off into like the wilderness, and then you can obviously think in your mind, well, we know how we get to the start of the Lion King when Scar wants to be king and then kind of explains, no, Mufasa cost me my brother. That's the only thing. My brother cost me the chance of being king. Not really your brother. You kind of found him floating along a river attached to a log.
Absolutely.
That for
Yeah.
me, sure. When you're doing any kind of prequel, and you mentioned the Star Wars ones at the start of the show, when you're doing any kind of prequel, make sure you've done your fucking homework so
Yeah,
you
I
know
totally agree with you. Totally agree with you.
it's for me that was just so poor from this movie, and so many people going through YouTube and like various movie forums today have gone, hang on a minute, they're not brothers, like major flaw already. Hello, spoiler alert. So I don't know. I think as our first movie review goes, and these are going to be quick, easy, simple reviews that we're going to do over the next coming weeks and months. It was a solid 6.5, pushing a 7 out of 10. What about you, Scotty?
Don't disagree with you. I'd say it was a solid 7 for me. Dave Metzger is the director who did or the musical director who did Frozen 2, Wreck-It Ralph, and other
Mhm.
Disney ones. So and Moana. So you were spot on.
Ah, there
Just
you
had to
go. See,
had to have a little bit of a Google there. But
there
yeah,
we go.
overall it was a solid 7. I would suggest for this one. Decent enough if you and depending on the audience type, who's going with you. If you're taking younger children with you to the cinema, absolutely go out and watch it. Well worth a couple of hours. They'll enjoy it. So it's audience based. I think it works. But um, if you're an adult watching it on your own,
Like me and
maybe
you
not.
were.
Maybe
Yeah, I
maybe
went to
but
the
me and you,
cinema on
yeah.
my own.
Maybe not the
Luckily, I went
most
straight
ideal
after
film.
work, and it wasn't. I think there was about 8 people in the whole cinema, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, look, if you've got kids, you want something easy to watch. I mean, this will be a great movie. I think when it comes out on Blu-ray, and you get to watch how it was made, and I think did people still buy Blu-rays now? That could be a
I'm not
topic.
sure. Sky Plus streaming that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Disney Plus.
I don't
Yeah, when
think
it
people
gets out
buy
there.
Blu-rays. Just about wrapping up, Scotty, where are you with the Disney franchise now? Everything seems to be TV series streamed. Star Wars have done it more than most recently. Marvel have obviously gone into it. Everything like,
Hmm.
after I think after the Avengers, I think after Endgame, they've gone into God knows how many spin-off series of all the different
Yeah.
characters, and we're now getting a Captain America movie which comes out on February the 14th, which I can't spending Valentine's Day watching Captain America. I can't wait. But where are you now with the whole Disney thing? Are you more TV series? Are you more movies? Where are you?
I'm kind of in the mold of watching content through TV series at the minute. That's kind of where we are. We're all like that, unfortunately. We all stream. We all have Netflix, Disney Plus, them sort of, easy streaming, bite-sized chunks. Watch things there and then. That's kind of how I consume media now. And unfortunately, I think the vast majority of the population do the same. So it's more of a harder slog to sit down for a couple of hours and watch a film. You've got to really get into it and be prepared for that. But I also hope that the movie going doesn't go. I hope that we don't end up getting down the route of everything is streams and that's it, because there's nothing better than going to the cinema, as you said, and sitting and physically watching,
Oh,
the
mate,
film
I've got
there.
the for those in the UK, I've got the Odeon Limitless Pass, so I pay like £20 a month, and I can go and see as many movies as I like. And I think one movie on its own is 20 quid anyway. So
Yeah,
I
it's
pay £20
expensive
a
though.
month, and that gets you IMAX, that gets you anything really up and down the country. But my local one here in Milton Keynes, I go and check it out, mate. But yeah, no, I'll give it Mufasa the Lion King. It's one of them that I'm not going to rush to watch again. If it's on the telly,
Agreed. Yeah.
it comes on, and I'll put it this way. This is how not bad this movie was. I couldn't convince my nearly 13-year-old daughter to go and watch it with me. I had to go on my own.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Mine didn't want to watch it either, and she's
I think if
13. So
you're,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly the same.
I
Yeah.
think if you're like 7, 8, 9 years old, I think you're potentially gonna love this movie. But no, Scotty, it's one for the books, mate. We've done our first movie review. For those that want to check us out on social media, by the way, at Completed It Pod on X, we on YouTube. Completed It podcast. Just type that in. We've got some great. If you're Scott, are you a fan of the 80s cartoon, The Thundercats?
Oh, absolutely. Grew up with Thundercats.
If
So
you're a
yeah.
fan of the Thundercats, we've got something great lined up coming next Monday. If you're a fan of the movie The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Hmm.
got a very great, really good guest coming on in a couple of weeks that we're going to be talking all things Ninja Turtles with. We've got some more Superman and DC stuff coming up. We've got some great Marvel stuff lined up coming in the next weeks and months. But yeah, if you like what we do, we're new to the game. We're getting involved in movie reviews, TV reviews, anything pop culture related is where you can find us. But at Completed It Pod on X is where you can probably interact with us most. But Scotty, thanks for your time, mate. I think our next movie review, I think myself and a good friend of mine, Satcha, are going to be reviewing. Have you seen Sonic 3 yet?
I haven't seen it yet, but it is on the list to have a look at. So
I'd recommend watching it on the big screen as well. I know no spoilers, but don't leave after the credits.
oh, okay.
Just saying there, mate. Might set a little something up for you. But this has been another episode of the Completed It podcast. I've been your host, Andy Burrows. That has been the one and only Mr. Scott Hartley. Till next time, everybody. Stay safe.